Welcome to the Intercut Podcast, the weekly show going over the TV, movies, and entertainment that people can't cut away from. I am your co-host, Zachary Shevich, and joining me, he did not hit her. He did not. Oh, hi, Mark. It's Arturo Zurita.
Good story, Zach. Yeah.
For all of you who haven't seen The Room,
yeah,
you
for
are
those of you
definitely
who think that
in the dark
insane,
right now. Yeah. We are not having just a weird reaction to domestic violence. That's just a disaster artist quote / The Room quote. We'll talk about that movie a little bit more later in the show in our topic of the week. We're also going to get into Bryan Singer, Taika Waititi, Quentin Tarantino in our Yay or Nay segment. But first, let's kick it off. Art, what you been watching?
The Disaster Artist, literally twice. I went and I saw it before. I went on a little Texas trip before I left. I went and I saw The Disaster Artist in town. Fantastic. So
Nice.
obviously I saw The Room before that to make it, the complete thing. Then I go to Texas and my buddy didn't see The Room, so I'm like, let's watch The Room. So we watched The Room. He's like, this is not real.
Yeah.
The Room is one of those movies. Again, I saw it again in Texas. I saw it in Alamo Drafthouse. Mm-hmm. If you have an Alamo Drafthouse near you, I know there's some in New York, there's some obviously in Texas. They have a before and after just section of it all. Like, they literally have a compilation of Tommy Wiseau clips, Tommy Wiseau parodies. Tommy Wiseau comes out and introduces the movie to you. So I definitely highly recommend just Alamo Drafthouse theaters in general. That was my first time at one, but
Yeah, Alamo is a great experience.
I watched the movie twice. And I saw The Room like 3 times in the span of a month.
You are ready for this.
And on the third time, I was still catching new things. Mm-hmm. There is a scene where a 16-year-old, who's clearly a 27-year-old, but he's pretending to be a 16-year-old, he is talking about, when I grow up, I'm going to graduate and I'm going to, I'm gonna get a really good job and I'm going to pay for my wife and all these different things. And then Johnny's yes.
There's all these weird things in the movie.
All these weird things, and Johnny goes, he's like, I know you can do that. And he's like, yeah, thanks for believing me, Johnny. And thanks for paying my tuition. And my buddy and I just cracked up. We're like, wait, what the heck? Johnny just paid for this entire kid's tuition. Johnny's the American hero, as it says in the movie. And if you see The Room and you're still confused as to how this came to be, I highly recommend The Disaster Artist, because one is a mediocre movie, and then the other one is The Room, which is the masterpiece. Disaster Artist is a really good movie, but every time I see it, I think The Disaster Artist gets better with every watch, but The Room gets superior with every watch, okay? I've seen The Disaster Artist, but that's not what I'm quoting. I'm quoting The Disaster Artist, quoting The Room.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be so much material there, you think, just to mine a whole movie of the making of the movie. There's this cult following around The Room now where it's become
they're crazy.
The new kind of midnight staple, the way that Rocky Horror Picture Show has been for a long time. And these screenings are such a riot and fun occasion. People quoting lines and throwing spoons and stuff. Yeah, like if you don't know what you're in for, you're going to be completely
you're going to be scared.
I feel like you need to watch The Room for yourself, like for a first occasion, just so you have some kind of idea. Although I don't know if you need to necessarily watch The Room before seeing The Disaster Artist, because it's just a funny comedy. Like, I think
it is.
I think there's enough there in The Disaster Artist as a odd sort of character study of Tommy Wiseau with some hilarious performances from James Franco, Dave Franco, Seth Rogen, Paul Scheer, a whole bunch of funny faces. I think, just no matter who you are, you should try and check out The Disaster Artist. It's maybe the funniest movie I've seen all year.
I'm not going to go that far, but The Room will always be the funniest movie you see all year if you go catch it. It is literally free on YouTube. Go pay Lord Tommy Wiseau his money, though, even though he doesn't really need it. But it is on YouTube for free. Sex scenes and all.
Where does he get that money from? That's the thing I still want to know. It's so crazy. There's so many, I don't know. It's such a mystery.
It's definitely worth watching. It is Disaster Artist is a really good movie. What is it calling it? The best movie that James Franco and crew have made about the worst movie. But The Room will always be the best worst movie ever made. It's so bad it's good. Definitely check that out with a couple of friends. just get into it. The more you honestly, the first time I saw The Room, I was like, okay, what? I saw it again. I was like, whatever. And then I saw it in preparation for The Disaster Artist. I was like, all right, this is funny. Saw it again. Saw it recently with my buddy, and now it just. We say hi doggy to things that aren't doggies. Like, you know what I mean?
You're my favorite customer.
It's the most quotable thing, but usually you quote things when it makes sense. The movie is so incoherent that you can use the quotes for anything. You can say, oh, hi, Mark, to people not named Mark. Oh, funny story for anything.
It's a beautiful disaster piece. Yeah, we highly recommend catching up with The Room or The Disaster Artist. I have been watching The Shape of Water. This is out now. I'm in select cities. It might be New York only. It's expanding soon.
It's over here in this. I didn't get to see that one. I skipped that one for The Disaster Artist. But I heard you say something about this movie. I didn't like what I heard.
Are you referring to the tweet?
I'm referring to E.T., yes.
So, this movie is the latest from Guillermo del Toro, and it imagines a world in which there's a fishman of sorts at this laboratory that Sally Hawkins works at. Yeah, it's very much inspired by the creature from the Black Lagoon. But in terms of how the story plays out, I mean, it's essentially like, what if E.T. could fuck? I mean, it's basically like the story of E.T. If E.T. were a hot monster guy who potentially could whisk you off your feet underwater. I don't know what the underwater equivalent of being whisked off your feet is, but surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, this is a really great, tender, beautiful, shall I say, almost romantic comedy kind of horror. It's a weird mash of genres that I feel like only Guillermo del Toro is capable of. This is the guy who made Pan's Labyrinth, of course. He's done Pacific Rim.
His last movie?
Yeah. What is it called again?
It's Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak.
I don't want to spoil it, but when you realize what it is, it ain't a horror movie. It's something else.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole... He's really brilliant at mixing these elements, and he's got this wonderful eye for design. I mean, the creature in this movie is really... it's really interesting to look at, and the way that it sort of is human in elements, but not in others. It's kind of... It's a really fascinating kind of performance done by Doug Jones, Guillermo del Toro's longtime monster collaborator. But the real reason that this movie works so well is Sally Hawkins in the lead role. She's playing the role of a janitor at this facility who is a mute woman. She only communicates through sign language, and she just brings so much texture to this role. You can feel her going through so much and wanting to express it with this guy, with this monster. She makes you really feel for their relationship, which should be much weirder than it is. It's also assisted by some great supporting performances. Octavia Spencer and Richard Jenkins are both great in the film as well as a very villainous Michael Shannon and a Michael Stuhlbarg performance that is partially in Russian, very convincing in Russian. Stuhlbarg now, between Call Me By Your Name and this, is doing 3 different languages this year in movies. So he's just phenomenal. But yeah, I can't recommend Shape of Water enough, as bizarre as the premise sounds. You know, I heard that Guillermo del Toro cut a version of the movie using the score from one of my favorite films, Punch Drunk Love, and that really comes across oddly in this sort of oddly romantic, sort of dark, comedic presence of the film.
So what you're saying is that the Golden Globe should have nominated for Best Musical.
I'd say it could be, or comedy, if you really wanted to squint your eyes at it.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to check it out. I missed it. I was waiting. I got to see it with my girlfriend. She's wanted to see it, and now that you're telling me that it's a romantic comedy.
I mean, it's starting to expand now, so hopefully more people will get a chance to see it. I'm sure we can circle back to it and maybe do an after-credits spoiler edition of this talk. Sorry?
Top of the year?
I'm not going to say it's my top of the year because we already talked about how much I love 3 Billboards, and Get Out is also another movie that I love this year, but it's in that top 5. I'm pretty sure about that.
Because with some other stuff that we talked about, they have it up there with those other movies you mentioned. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We'll get to all that in a little bit more later. Let's head right into the yay or nay, where we discuss the latest happenings in the entertainment industry. And we're circling back again to a piece of news that we discussed in brief during our topic of the week a couple weeks ago. This is the rumor of Disney attempting to buy 20th Century Fox, which is picking up more and more steam. And if you're, depending on which section of the internet you're listening to, this is either the best news ever or the worst news ever. If in the best news ever camp is a lot of superhero fans who are excited at the possibility of more of the Marvel properties once again being under the Marvel owned by Disney umbrella. And it would be the X-Men can now return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and crossover with Iron Man and such. And then pretty much everyone else is in the camp of, it would be great if we avoided monopoly situations because that's bad for business. And if we get into the situation where Disney buys 20th Century Fox, I believe that's one of the 5 major studios being purchased by another one of the 5 major studios.
Yeah, that's insane. Bringing it down, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, just think about percentage-wise. That's a whole 20% of the industry is getting absorbed or something like that. So it's an interesting development. Are you yay or nay on the potential acquisition of 20th Century Fox by Disney?
When we talked about it in the past, I told you there are nays to the situation. I think the one who gets it the most is Netflix. Netflix is, I really feel, the one who's going to hurt the most. Our little indie pictures that we like are still going to be out there. They ain't making money before. They ain't going to make money afterwards. That's just how it is. Universal's got their franchises that they got going, DreamWorks, whatever the other bigger ones are. To me, I'm going to go with the yays. I'm going to focus on the yays because in my mind, and I told you my theory, Avengers 4 doesn't have a title because they've been waiting for this acquisition.
There's all those rumors out there that Kevin Feige is very, very interested in bringing X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've been saying
they got magic, they got people who can warp dimensions. They have told you when y'all ready, we're ready. Like, they can combine both worlds, no problem. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, I gotta go nay just because of that whole, I don't know, Monopoly thing.
No, who cares? Whatever. Monopoly's a great game, and. Look, what's the worst thing that happens if they have a monopoly? So what? Disney's already big, though.
Disney is already big. I think it's about the fewer options being out there. It's about how if you are... We've seen these situations of how producers can wield immense power over the industry and can blackball people. And this is just one less path to go. That means if you pissed off Disney, you can't go to 20th Century Fox anymore. And it's just... At a certain point, I'm worried about Disney just ballooning and ballooning and ballooning. I don't mind a single company acquisition in isolation, but this is part of a pattern that Disney has been doing recently.
Just buy something if you don't like it.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, following the purchase of Marvel, following the purchase of Lucasfilm, it just it's hard to imagine where Disney would stop. And it's not so much about the purchase of Disney over 20th Century Fox. It's about what do they purchase after 20th Century Fox,
Name your favorite movies from the 5 major studios, then name your favorite movies from A24.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like, the studios don't necessarily make all the best content anymore. But and the paradigm is shifting. I just think the precedent is kind of not one that I'm super for. I don't want to...
The president has nothing to do with this, Zach. And he would be for it, too. No, I mean, I get it. But I feel like they're already big enough. Buying something else is going to bring more opportunities than it would not. I think we're in a new age where Netflix... This is the biggest thing I feel it hurts. It's their streaming service that they bring with it. Because I don't know how much of it they're going to buy... per se, but what we talked about was the biggest thing that they wanted was not so much the rights to the characters, which a lot of fanboys will be really upset about, but it's they wanted the streaming rights to then really be able to do their streaming service that they wanted to do, where they piggybacked off Netflix, had a couple of stuff with their 5-year deal, waited till the last year to really give them everything. That's why you see Moana, Rogue One, all these like really big movies, which are going to get yanked because the contract's about to end, and they want this deal with Fox. Because then that means that they get to put out streaming services. Disney already has enough. I'm
Yeah.
signing up just for the Disney Channel original movies. Add to that The Simpsons, Atlanta, American Horror Story, which, okay,
Yeah.
let's go back. That means those are out of Netflix now. That drains Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I'm with you when we're talking about Monopoly. But I still think we're in a streaming age and where you can go to Hulu, you can go to Netflix, you can go to Amazon, you can go to A24, all these great little things. And I still think the people are going to have power. In my opinion.
I think there's a slippery
I'm an
slope. So,
optimist.
yeah. We'll get to our next topic, which is the upheaval. That's the word I was looking for. On the set of Bohemian Rhapsody, after rumors that Bryan Singer went missing for several days during the shoot, and rumors that he and star Rami Malek have been clashing, Bryan Singer was fired from the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. This also comes amid renewed rumors that Bryan Singer will be prosecuted for certain sexual assault allegations that have been around for a while around him. But that's not specifically the reason that was given for his firing. And apparently Dexter Fletcher is the director currently lined up to take over. He was the director behind Eddie the Eagle, which was a hit in 2016. So Art, are you yay or nay on the movie moving forward with Dexter Fletcher as the director?
What was the reason? You said, is there another reason to his firing?
Well, he was leaving set for days on end and clashing with Rami Malek. So there's news that came out here that apparently not only on this film, but his last two films, including X-Men Apocalypse, he had left the set for days on end for unexplained reasons.
No. X-Men Apocalypse had pages missing. That's what X-Men Apocalypse had a little bit more problems than just him leaving. This is why Disney needs to buy Fox, because they don't know how to get directors who know how to stay on task. First of all, Josh Trank, now you're telling me this man's leaving. I'm over him.
Bryan Singer?
Yeah, I'm over Bryan Singer.
I don't
Usual
think the
Suspects was an unusual movie in his filmography as to how much it still stands. Are we allowed to watch Usual Suspects? Yeah, Kevin Spacey. And
I know, right? Man. There was rumors this week that Gabe Byron, the other star of the movie, said they actually suspended production on Usual Suspects, dealing with the Kevin Spacey thing. So that movie is now
and I know for a fact
cast in a different light, but that's one of my favorites. So
Benicio del Toro does. I don't know what he's done. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we're allowed to watch that movie or not. But
yeah, I mean, well,
it still stands. It's a great movie. I've never seen him, and I would have to go through his filmography again. I've never seen him replicate that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really been a director who's done great work, I would say, aside from Usual Suspects, and a lot of people give him credit for launching the superhero trend with the X-Men movies, although, you know, who deserves the credit there is
Feige, who, guess what? When you follow Feige, did you know Feige worked with Fox?
Did he?
Feige worked with Fox, and he was one of the producers or something like that. No, I kid you not. Actually, search this up. This is when I say King Feige, it's for real. He was with Fox.
It's got his fingerprints and everything.
And Sony with Spider-Man before coming and then doing his own thing. Like this wasn't a guy who just came up with it. He laid the groundwork over here. So I'm not even giving it to him. I'm giving it to the man who deserves it and is getting it right now, Feige. Because Feige was working for Fox. Like I'm pretty sure it's on the Wikipedia, like on the Square thing. Right. So yeah, I'm fine. Get rid of Bryan Singer. I'm completely tired of Bryan Singer. I don't know about the Eddie the Eagle director. I thought it was a fine movie, but this is Queen.
Yeah,
We've
I mean,
already messed up Tupac's biopic. Like the last good one that we got was Ray. The Get Up. Chadwick Boseman when he did his.
Get On Up. Is that what it's called?
I don't remember the name. So it's like, when was the last time we had a good music biopic? Even the one with Loki.
Oh yeah, that one was supposed to be terrible.
I See the Light. Yeah, that. Yeah. The one with Andre. Andre ain't giving us rap music because he wants to be an actor. And where's Andre now? He made his who is he supposed to be?
Oh, Jimi Hendrix, All by My Side, right? Yeah.
I saw that movie. I should have seen it on whatever Jimi Hendrix was on, because clearly they were going for something else. So it's like, this has to be... There's
Yeah.
so many records. If you're like a younger person who doesn't even know that much Queen, go through the songs and be like, oh, I didn't know that was them.
I know, like that's the thing is I think we've been all waiting for a Queen movie for so long. I mean, there was that we've talked about how there was that long-standing rumor that it was going to be Sacha Baron Cohen
Which is
playing Freddie Mercury. Yeah, I want to take up a time machine and get that movie back into production. But then we reacted to those first photos of Rami Malek, and
they were good.
like he looks so good in the part. I want this movie to be good, but things like this make me lose faith. I am in favor of Bryan Singer being removed from the production piece. Like you said, he kind of hasn't made a great movie in a while, but. Dexter Fletcher doesn't necessarily get me excited. I'd love to see someone that's a little more up this alley. I mean, I don't know what Eddie the Eagle has to do with. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
I could see the thing is like Eddie the Eagle seems so by the book and so structurally uninventive that it makes me think that this movie will be structurally uninventive too, and that's not what I want to see from a Queen biopic. So
No. We'll see.
Kathleen Kennedy is apparently as big of a fan of Thor Ragnarok as you and me are, Art. She is considering Taika Waititi for his own Star Wars movie. Waititi has expressed some interest in the past. Yeah, just take it from here, Art. Listen, yay or nay?
You can redo the thing, but I'm giving you right now. It's a yay.
Yeah.
Anything Taika Waititi. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I mean, that's pretty much all I have. I'm going to... I'll just disagree with you for the sake of argument.
No,
I'm going to go nay.
You and I literally are equal on the Taika love.
Yeah, I know, but he can make other movies that aren't space adventures, right? Like, is this just what we do with our great directors now? Is we plop them in different multi-million dollar franchises?
This is what we do in the shadows with Taika Waititi. Yes, we hide him for a bit, have him do that little indie movie that no one watches, which is supposed to be the sequel. Yeah, and then you have him go out. So it's supposed to be Star Wars?
It's going to be a non-episodic Star Wars. It's going to be one of those spin-off ones, apparently.
How are you going to play devil's advocate again?
Let the man do his own movies.
That's your thing?
I like Hunt for the Wilder People.
Which you'll do. Hunting again for the Wilder People.
Can't they find anybody else? There's one director who can do all these movies?
After he does his...
Okay, wait. I have the argument. Last time Kathleen Kennedy hired a unique comedic voice to run a Star Wars franchise, what happened, Art? She fired Lord and Miller.
Yes, but that was because they weren't putting their socks the way that she wanted them to. Taika Waititi's got the best socks in the business. Watch any interview where you can see his full body. Best socks in the industry. Also, Taika Waititi, the cast that he had for Thor, are half of them, more of them, Oscar nominated people.
A good chunk of them.
Okay, Lord and Miller's live action people were Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, and Ice Cube.
They're funny people.
They're great people, but she has seen Taika Waititi's work. Disney's work. Taika Waititi's work for Disney and liked it. I think it'll go well. There's only one thing that needs to happen here, and you know what it is. You know what character in the Star Wars Cinematic Universe he needs to cover.
Oh, don't say Jar Jar. Don't you say Jar Jar.
I had a clever thing for the post, but I can't think of it right now. But I just want the ending to one of the Star Wars movies to just be like, Misa coming back. You know how they say? You know how they say Spider-Man will be back in Avengers.
He's gonna pull the James Gunn Howard duck trick with a post-credit scene or something like that.
And then it ends and it say Misa will be back.
If that might be the thing that actually kills the Star Wars franchise.
I want the movie to be called Misa Movie, and then have 21 Savage do all the music, and call it It's a album too.
Okay.
You're sold.
I'm in favor of that. I'm sold. We're not done yet, though, with big directors going to space franchises. Quentin Tarantino has expressed interest recently in helming a new Star Trek movie, but only an R-rated Star Trek movie. And damn it, J.J. Abrams is going to let him do it. Deadline is reporting that they've assembled a writer's room to put together an idea based on Tarantino's idea for an upcoming Star Trek film, which Tarantino would direct. This would be the first time Tarantino is willing to direct a script he hasn't written. It's also the first time Tarantino is going to take a step into a previously created franchise. So, Art, are you yay or nay on this idea of an R-rated Star Trek Tarantino film?
Who owns Star Trek? What company is it? Warner Bros., Universal.
I want to say it's...
Doesn't matter if they're going to be bought out by Disney. I'll say this. I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the movies. I can't say I'm the biggest Star Trek fan. I can't even say I'm the biggest when it comes to space adventures. It's very few in between where I'm like, yo, this space adventure is like really cool. Valerian obviously being the last solid one that I've seen.
Paramount.
Are they one of the big five?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it Quentin Tarantino only supposed to be making 10 movies and then he's calling it quits?
Yeah, I never believed that.
I don't believe it either, but if he only has 2, and one of them's supposed to be that 1969 movie, the Manson murder movie, is this supposed to be his 10th?
Because, yeah, I'm not buying that if he's going to retire
I'm not buying that he's
on
going
a
to
Star
retire
Trek
with a
movie.
Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Unless he's going to completely ruin the franchise and then at the end be like, haha, I'm the biggest Star Wars fan.
Just a big troll.
The biggest troll of all time. Then in that case I am. If not, then no.
Yeah.
Also, because this keeps him from doing another movie that I would like, because that's the Quentin Tarantino that we know and love, is where he's able to do whatever he wants with his characters. Mm-hmm. How's he supposed to write witty dialogue for, again, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, don't crucify me, this dude. That man don't even have emotions.
Yeah. I mean, they manage some witty dialogue in the Star Trek movies, at least the more recent ones that I've seen. I'm also not the biggest fan of the Star Trek series, so I can't really speak from that viewpoint. But that being said, I do think a Tarantino Star Trek movie would be really different.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, don't get me wrong.
And if there's any director out there that can convince a big franchise to step into R-rated territory and maybe do some weird stuff, Tarantino sounds like the guy to do it. I don't know. This kind of sounds like fun to me, and it's even though it's directly contradicting what I just said about Taika Waititi, I'm kind of for it.
You would. You were so funny.
All right, so we're running out of time for yay or nay.
Yeah,
Let's
sure
get to some rough cuts, starting with the new poster for Ready Player One, which has some leggy issues. Are you yay or nay on this poster?
Oh, man, I hope they break a leg with this movie. I'm really hoping they do really well, and they just really stretch it out and just, oh, man. This is, I saw this on a thing called Movie Set Memes. It's a Facebook page. Mm-hmm. I highly recommend it. Go check it out.
Shout out Dylan Farnham.
Oh, you on it?
Yeah.
You're on Movie Set Memes. This is rough cuts. Okay. I didn't get it at first, and then I looked at it, and they said there was balance issues. I was like, are we really going to be... Like, I thought it was a fine poster. I'm like, really? We're that cynical? What is it, the blues? What is it, some hues? Do I have... great. Now, how am I going to be in the movie industry? I can't even tell what's wrong with this poster. Then I saw the leg, and I was like, holy moly. Why is it twice the size of him? It don't make no sense. Man looking like he works at a circus. Man looking like Vincent Adultman from BoJack Horseman with those pants. It made absolutely no sense. This isn't the first time it's been done. There's like a whole webpage full of these types of things where
these messed up posters
where people are shooting and their hands aren't even in the trigger. Yeah. I highly recommend checking out those posters. I don't get how they get made.
It's funny when you look closely at some of these posters how strange some of the... Yeah, there's a Tomb Raider poster that came out earlier this year, and Alicia Vikander's neck is like 3 times the size of what a human neck looks like. I mean, forget the leg issue. This is like a weird nothing poster. Like, what does this poster even tell me about the movie?
There's an egg in the back?
Yeah, I'm kind of just down on it on that, and plus that leg looks really weird. I read online some artist was like, no, the actual proportions are right. I don't think the proportions are right. It looks really, really weird.
Do they not have testings for these? I don't know. It's not. Whatever. I'm so excited for the movie.
John Hamm is apparently interested in replacing Ben Affleck in Batman in the Justice League saga. Art, yay or nay on John Hamm taking over Bruce Wayne?
I'm gonna be complete. Yeah, I've become a big John Hamm fan in the past year. With Baby Driver, I rewatched, not rewatched. I had missed Keeping Up with the Joneses. He's solid, and and who else is in there? Wonder Woman, and his chemistry with her is spot on.
Did not realize that.
There you go. That's my 2 cents on that, and my backup for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, so John Hamm's a dude who's kind of, I think, been looking for a serious dramatic role that's in a big blockbuster franchise like this. I kind of think he'd be perfect for the kind of Bruce Wayne character.
He was Bruce Wayne in Mad Men.
I mean, you've already, through his work on 30 Rock and Kimmy Schmidt and all these other comedies that he pops up in, he's definitely got the kind of comedic timing and stuff that you would want for some of the more witty dialogue that they throw into a lot of these superhero movies. But he's got that gravitas and that seriousness. I mean, this is Don Draper we're talking about. I think he'd be perfect, quite honestly.
Now I'm gonna give that 2 yays up. Yo, John Hamm might be actually the dopest one, because he'll go in there and he'll care. He'll take probably the worst. Like he could have done Batman v Superman, and I know like I'm on the side of it that it's good, but he probably would have made it like heart wrenching. John Hamm in that Martha scene, because some people are like hate Ben Affleck, but John Hamm in that Martha scene, I can guarantee everybody like,
kills
look at him in Martha. You're tearing me apart.
Ryan Reynolds is apparently attached to voice Detective Pikachu in the Detective Pikachu movie. Art, why are you going thumbs up on this?
I want you to say the headline again.
He's voicing Detective Pikachu?
Ryan Reynolds is voicing Detective Pikachu.
I'm not convinced this isn't Deadpool viral marketing, to tell you the truth.
I didn't think this was real when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Because there's actual fan art of Pikachu as Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand where this premise comes from. Apparently, this is a thing where there's like many Pikachus in the world, but there's one, and that is a Detective Pikachu. But this is also supposed to be like a partially live action movie. What are the chances we even see this movie? I feel like this is one of those movies where we hear about the casting and it just never gets made. I'm going nay on this. I don't care.
How are we getting a Detective Pikachu movie and we're barely getting our first black superhero?
Well, hopefully Black Panther comes out before
Pokemon
Pikachu.
got more equality.
Rumors are that Ant-Man and the Wasp, the upcoming Ant-Man sequel, might be a romantic comedy. Art, yay or nay on this idea?
Ant-Man's my most disappointing movie of the Marvel universe. Disappointing. I don't think it's the worst. It's just the most disappointing. So I hope to like it, but right now my bias is no.
Out of it. Yeah, I mean, like I gotta go nay too. Like they
I
do
like
this.
Paul Rudd.
Really?
I like him.
Oh, I'm yay on Paul Rudd. I'm just nay on this idea. Like I think they throw out these hypotheticals. Yeah, this is a spy thriller Marvel movie, and this is like a heist Marvel movie, and none of them actually feel like that. They just all feel like Marvel movies. So I don't.
You wanna know what the problem with it is?
Mm-hmm.
I think Paul Rudd is actually really good at Ant-Man because in Civil War he was fantastic. He was one of the standouts in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
in Civil War.
He's great in Civil
War. So
War.
it's like, how can he not do it in his own movie? You actually want to. The more that I think about it, and Lost is my favorite show of all time. I love Freckles, but I honestly think she is the issue. Yeah. I don't think they. Am I wrong? I don't think they have good chemistry. And now you're telling me this is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, I've never really been a fan of her in film.
Evangeline
Lilly,
her
Lost on Evangeline Lilly. I like her a lot on that show, but I don't know. I don't think she's found the right film role in
because she's still Kate. Like she's Kate in everything she does. She's Kate in The Hobbit. She's Kate here. She's Kate everywhere she goes.
Our final Rough Cut story: Edgar Wright is apparently working on the Baby Driver 2 screenplay. Art, yay or nay?
No, it's dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
personally, I can't imagine Baby Driver without Kevin Spacey returning.
He's dead. The people were actually contemplating how he was still alive. I was like, the dude got shot like 20 times. Okay, that Kevin Spacey has a better chance than the Kevin Spacey that's alive right now. So
From coming back.
I guess from coming back, but...
Yeah, I mean, like Baby Driver just ended up getting the Golden Globe. Ansel Elgort was nominated for Best Actor, which seems kind of weird for me. I mean, we both enjoyed Baby Driver, but like Edgar Wright needs to keep working on other
Edgar Wright
stuff.
was the one who deserved the nom. First of all.
Yeah, Elgort? Really? Elgort?
He didn't believe it. Did you see his tweet?
No, I actually didn't.
He said, I didn't believe it.
I didn't either. We move on to our topic of the week, and it's the disaster artist yet again, returning to what we talked about a bit at the start, but we're going to get a little bit more into some spoilers and other discussions here. So this movie, the latest film directed by James Franco, also written, I think co-written and co-starring James Franco.
Yes.
He plays the Tammy Wiseau character, Making the Room. It's the story of the production from the perspective of Greg Sestero, I think his name is.
Yes.
Who played by Dave Franco. It's kind of interesting that James and Dave, the co-stars of this movie, brothers in real life, don't play brothers in the film, but ultimately I don't think that mattered that much. It was able to be, like I said, a very funny film.
They are brothers. They love each other.
They do love each other. But yeah, this is another film in a long series of films that are about movies, but it's done from a different angle because there aren't as many films, I think, about bad movies. I mean, you look at like Ed Wood is probably the best example.
Ed Wood's a really good movie.
Of a movie that sort of celebrates the culture of bad movies or bad filmmakers, but this does it in a very different way, and I think gives you much more a slice of like the odd set atmosphere and all the ways in which making a movie is much more complicated than it seems at first. You can't just walk in and be the director. Art, what was your big takeaway from The Disaster Artist?
I loved how there is how do I put this? I hate The New Yorker. And I know that you are a fan of The New Yorker, I believe. I am not a fan of The New Yorker because there is an article that pretty much takes everything that I want to say right now, from the question you told me, and flips it on itself. And talks about how it's only based on the mythos of Tommy Wiseau. That it's only focused on making fun of him or something, that it's all done from his perspective, yet you yourself just told me that it's done from the perspective of Greg, and we are introduced by Greg, and every scene is Greg. Other than
it's
the part
definitely
where,
from Greg's point of view.
Yeah,
I have no idea what they're talking
literally,
about.
I think like the only scene... Did you know there's an after credits?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Quick story. I saw it in the Alamo Draft House, left... Didn't have my phone, went back. I couldn't find it. I was freaking out. I'm like, great, I just got robbed in the Animal Draft House, and I bet they took it because they don't like cell phones. I find it in the seat as I'm coming out. I hear, oh, hi. And I'm like, so I thought it was like, no, it was an after credit scene. Tommy Wiseau meets Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
So stay for the after credit scene. It's very funny. It's very meta. It's a little corny, but it's worth staying for after the credits.
Yeah. There's a lot of like self nods that are really fun. I mean, they do a whole sequence during the credits. Not at the end, during the credits, where they show the recreated scenes side by side with the movie, which for me was one of my favorite parts, even though it kind of like breaks the spell a little. I think it's fun to see how they really went into detail to recreate the, like, down to the timing of all these lines and the sets, and it's pretty. It just as a piece of homage to another piece of art. I thought it was really it's a love letter. Definitely, it's a great way of putting it.
Especially at the ending, like you said, they try to get the timing, but even the ones where they didn't reshoot it to get it perfectly, and it's just like, oh, these are like a bunch of friends who are trying to pay an homage to what they like, and I know even though it breaks it, to me the whole thing was again a love letter because they really, really, really like this movie. That's why you have that introduction. J.J. Abrams was the best one, first of all. The cameo that just pops up, I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, exactly. This is why I go back to that thing from the New Yorker. There's a specific author in the New Yorker. This isn't to like bash the New Yorker or anything.
Richard Brody?
Yes!
Yeah, so this is an unrelated piece to our topic of the week, but there was an article that came out earlier. There's an article that came out earlier this week that used data to analyze who are the most contrarian film critics, and he was like top 4.
Bruh, no, he even did one on Call Me By Your Name. Said it wasn't... Whatever. He focused on this one saying that that The Room was legitimately a better movie than The Disaster Artist. Now, I agree with him, but he means it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I
mean,
agree, but he actually means it.
Yeah.
And he spends this whole article trying to write it. And I'm like, Brody, you keep doing you, right?
I enjoy
but you
Richard.
gotta stop.
I enjoy reading Richard Brody because I think sometimes it's
Is he trolling?
It's an interesting like thought exercise. Sorry.
Is he trolling? I went on his Twitter.
I think it's more like an intellectual troll than an online troll, but like
I'm trying to remember what he put on his Twitter because it was the second dumbest thing I heard in 2017. He put something on his Twitter saying like he didn't like the movie because I don't know. Give your thoughts real quick. I'm gonna search this up because this is worthy of figuring it out. But
yeah, I mean, so I think the thing is there's people who are talking about The Disaster Artist in comparison to The Room. Because The Disaster Artist, if you look at it as from the traditional, like what makes a movie good quality-wise, it's got more of those things. It's better produced, the acting is better, the structure makes more sense, there's things that pay off. But I think what I'm hoping Richard Brody's point is, and maybe it is just a troll, is that like there's a uniqueness and an energy to the original Room, which is so hard to recreate. And the reason there is that passion around it, like there's not going to be that same passion for The Disaster Artist as there was for the original Room. And I think that's more his point. And I think it's interesting, but I don't think that necessarily negates The Disaster Artist in any way. I think The Disaster Artist functions perfectly well, even if you're not familiar with The Room. Just as an ode to a person who has this crazy vision and the way that people sort of fall in line and have trouble dealing with it. I mean, for me, what I think was most interesting about watching The Disaster Artist is it made me understand a lot better how people get involved in movies like these and in bad performances. And you see all the time, there's these things that we make fun of in movies, bad line readings or really weird script choices and really weird camera directions. And those are, it's the result of a creative struggle where somebody just gives up and it's like, all right, we'll do it your way at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect example of what happens when you refuse the fact that film is a collaborative process.
Right.
So that's what caused it to be what it is. And they even give a lot of credit to Sandy. I can't remember his full name. The guy who Seth Rogen plays.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the dude who pretty much was able to make it coherent.
He gives himself a lot of credit for having essentially directed The Room,
according
the
to him,
script supervisor.
But like you said, it shows you why Tommy Wiseau would even do it in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't know how many liberties it took, but it shows you why Greg Sestero would do the movie.
Yeah.
Because he was doing it for a friend. Even the actors that are good in the movie, right? It was either people who wanted to get their first shot, or the certain part when they're talking to the grandma character, and she pretty much says, "Yes, oh, fantastic!" Like when they were doing the side by side, I was like, when she says we're actors, that's what we do. The worst day on a film set. I loved it even more the second time. Like, it just stuck with me. Second time I saw it.
The worst day on a film set
is better than the best day on any other job, and I'm like. Oh, like you fainted, but it's like you kind of have a point. You know what I mean? It's just like it really is one of the coolest jobs. And obviously, we're doing a podcast talking about movies, so obviously we adore it. But yeah, just the whole idea of making the movie in and of itself, but showing you how even when you come up with something that ends up being terrible, learning to embrace the movie, I thought was like the ending of the movie. Every time we get to the end of the movie, and you think he's a jerk, like he's a misogynist, he's a sexist, he's mean, he's a vampire, all these other messed up things that this dude is, right? He's probably like selling drug money, whatever it is. I don't know how he has that much money. But then he's crying at the end when everyone's laughing at his movie. And for like a split second, you're like, bro, what the heck?
You feel for him.
Right? You feel for him. And then he goes outside, he runs out. Yeah, and you're like, no. Because it's like you're kind of with the DP when he wants to beat him up, but then at the end of it you're like, yeah, but no. And then he goes up there, and he embraces the movie for what it is. And it's just like, how many of us have the balls to do that? How many of us won't even release something we're working on because we're too afraid that someone's going to make fun of it.
Right.
But he had the balls to do it, release it. Not just that, you know? Because David Fincher made Alien 3, and he disowns it. And a lot of people write songs or make movies or TV shows, and they disown it. He has embraced it to this day. And that is why he should have been Time's Person of the Year.
I mean, look, it takes bravery to do that kind of shift, and I don't think Tommy Wiseau is this kind of like, you know, a figure who should be admired for his craft or whatever. But
speak for yourself.
It is really fascinating the way that he
is really
turned
fascinating. Like,
this vision of dramatic narrative, this like all-American story, melodrama, and then just embraced the fact that people took it as a comedy and really just embraced that the movie got a reaction out of people. I don't think that means that The Disaster Artist is this like uplifting tale of, oh, you just have to try and you'll succeed. I think it's very much about this movie and about movie making, but I really enjoyed those aspects of it. And I think a lot of times, especially in comedies, you have characters who are there who don't really have motivation, and they're kind of just there to be laughed at. And because Tommy Wiseau, I think a lot of his actions oddly make sense in context, which I wasn't expecting them to. But because he's such a character, so many people around him get to play the more normal straight man, and it helps you kind of get a sense of who everybody is. I really appreciated that, and I enjoyed pretty much every moment of The Disaster Artist. Right. I guess I'm a little higher on it than you, though.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Let me give you these 3 questions right here, all right? Now, this is the second one that kind of leads in, but I'm going to start with the first. Do you think that the movie kind of makes fun of Tommy? Tommy's not doing anything about it?
So there are people who are accusing it of being kind of mean-spirited at Tommy. I don't know. I mean, he's a weird guy, and I think the movie kind of depicts things as they were or as they were perceived. I mean, it's not...
I recommend watching the interviews because he has done interviews where he says, he's like, no, I approved of it. I don't know if you saw the Jimmy Kimmel one. His only complaint with the movie was actually that it was too dark at the beginning. Yeah. And that was because he wears his sunglasses. And then you go, well, you know what? Actually, maybe he's not making fun of him. Maybe he didn't make fun of him enough.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing, is he seems to embrace all of it, and I think it's reached a point where it's kind of laughing with and not laughing at. I don't think it's like he is so weird. It's just kind of like, what is the motivation? And I think that's the thing that I enjoyed. I wanted to figure out what is going on in his head. That's what's fascinating to me.
He likes the ego of it, just a movie about him. As Lil Uzi Vert once said, it's because he's got that much money. If he didn't have that much money, then he would be thinking about it. But he's got too much money to think about it. Question number 2.
Yeah.
It got Golden Globe noms.
Yes, it did. It got a couple Golden Globe noms.
Forget those. What do you think it could get at the Oscars? Nominated, if not win?
So, I think it's all but assured to get a Best Adapted Screenplay nomination. Okay. I think they usually throw a comedy or two in there, giving comedy a bone. But it's very hard for comedy to break into those other categories. This is a pretty comedy-heavy year between, you know, I, Tonya and 3 Billboards and Get Out and all sorts of films. I just think it's a crowded year, and I can't really imagine it getting Best Picture among all these movies now. There's so many other movies out there. I wouldn't be surprised if James Franco got actor. I could see him getting that like 5th slot, kind of surprising people.
Now, do you like him?
In the role.
I will say this. Watching the movie so closely, it's good. It is good. Watching the movie so closely, it's just an impression of Tommy.
Yeah, so that's another debate. I think it's worth talking about. Is this acting or is this just an impression to you?
It's just an impression, because I'm like, you're still kind of doing yourself, and the Francos have a smile. You know what I'm talking about. The Francos have a smile that is undeniably Franco-ish. Now, yes, Tommy has kind of a similar one, but there are points where Franco just comes out. You know what I mean? And it's just like, this is just Franco imitating him. His voice isn't as... Tommy kind of sounds like he's like breathing in at the same time type of thing. You can't match Tommy's voice. I don't feel like he matched it to the degree that it was spot on, so it becomes more of an impression to me. And it always, for both viewings, it has taken me a bit to get into the character, because I'm just seeing James Franco do an impression. And maybe that's just because I know James Franco, but it's also not fair because it's such an unbelievable character.
Yeah.
That you're like, this ain't a real person. But it is. I don't know. Do you get what I mean, though?
I do. And it's kind of hard when you have this situation, because it does take a lot of talent to do that kind of impression, but you have to do more than impression for it to really be, acting. I do think that he was convincing in a bunch of scenes where you needed that impression to carry dramatic weight, and he did, and he was able to do that. I think it's one thing to get a laugh out of being awkward and having an accent, but it's another to really show emotional depth and give a performance that feels rooted in something real. And I did feel like it was rooted in something real. I felt like when he was doing things as Tommy, you understood what was the thought process there. So for me, it does go beyond impression. I don't know if it's like my favorite performance of the year or anything like that, but I think it'd be pretty great to see him get nominated or get some kind of respect for this award. And he's been getting some critics awards and stuff too, so it'll be interesting to see his path.
I want him to pop up just to see Tommy. The actual Tommy at the Oscars.
That's what we need. That's what we need, is them co-presenting an award.
Yes, because remember at the end what they say, that he had released it in one theater so he can be eligible for the Oscars, so that needs to happen.
That's the end of the journey.
Yeah, those are my two Hey, hopefully not. I wanted to continue. Those are my two questions. My third one is, explain to me why Richard Brody said Twin Peaks, The Return is TV, but most of what's good in it is good in like a movie, because it's made by a movie director who directed all the episodes and does the kind of things he does in movies.
What? I have no idea what he means. There's a weird debate going. Let's backtrack to a yay or nay. Side note, yay or nay. Twin Peaks, the show. People are calling it one of the best movies of the year. Is a show a movie?
That is a big debate that y'all have to tune in next week for, because I got a lot to say about that one.
All right, so we'll move ahead to the new to see, wrap ourselves up. New in theaters this weekend, the movie that everybody has been waiting all year for.
The Boss Baby
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand. That's a joke, man. It's such a joke. Have you seen the trailers to this hot piece of garbage?
Oh, of course I've seen it.
It's John Cena. They can't even do the trailer. It's John Cena talking about the movie. He's big and he's got a warm heart, just like me.
Yeah, it's very cheesy family counter programming for the real show of the weekend. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. People are just beginning to talk about it on Twitter. From some press screenings are letting out tonight, even.
All right, then.
And the reaction's pretty good. What are you feeling going into this weekend?
What am I feeling going into this weekend? Let me tell you, $200 worth of tickets at the IMAX Navy Pier. That's what I'm feeling when I'm not going to be looking at any single thing, because ain't nobody ruining this for me. I already had it messed up because I thought I was watching a Pepsi commercial or a Dr. Pepper, whatever it was that they're being sponsored. And what do I see?
Spoilers.
Freaking Ray asking for whatever his name is, hand in marriage or whatever it is. No, thank you.
Do we have to throw up the spoilers for this, Ben? Are you gonna spoil more stuff?
No, that's their own stuff. Okay, no. I said what's his name? All right, it could be BB-8. That's their own trailer stuff. I trusted them more, so this is what makes me think. I was like, y'all did such a good job for the seventh one.
Yeah.
Why would you do it for this one? So I'm thinking, I don't know, they're playing with something. I feel like they're playing, because I remember the theory. I remember hearing the theory that the whole thing is just a facade. And I thought that was like a really cool theory, so I don't know if that's a nod to that.
They are showing a lot of stuff that seems spoilery, which makes me think that
like
a
they're
lot of
messing
it
with you.
Is a fake.
It's a Jedi mind trick. I'm hyped. I'm completely hyped.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this movie in a way that I haven't been for a lot of Star Wars movies.
It's gonna be good.
New to streaming on Netflix, December 15th, we'll be getting Wormwood. This is the latest series documentary, a new thing for Errol Morris. A 4-hour, I believe, look at some of the CIA experiments with LSD, in which he does some different things than you normally see from Errol Morris. He's famous for using the Interrotron to interrogate his documentary subjects. In this, he ditches that for some recreations with Peter Sarsgaard and multiple camera setups. It's supposed to be a very interesting look on Netflix, so I'm going to be checking this one out on December 15th. Do you think you're going to catch up?
Is it a series, documentary, or...
I think it's a 4-part series or 6-part series, something like that. But documentary series.
I like Peter Sarsgaard.
Yeah.
I think he's good.
Yeah, I mean, Errol Morris is really cool too, so
I've never heard of that dude,
see...
but yeah, I'll be curious to see him.
I'm curious to see what he does in this sort of blend of mediums. On HBO Go on December 16th, Going in Style. This is the old man comedy remake directed by Zach Braff. Did you see this one earlier this year?
No. What? No. Yeah, I did. I saw it back in 2014 when it was called Las Vegas.
I think it has some of the same cast too.
Yes, it
on
really
Amazon on December 15th, Jean-Claude Van Johnson Season 1. This is Jean-Claude Van Damme's upcoming show that has a very similar premise to the JCVD movie that was kind of good from a few years ago. You heard anything about this? No, not really?
Why is it called Jean-Claude Van Johnson?
It's like a nickname or...
Is The Rock in it?
No, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. But that'd be a cool mashup.
That would be a cool mashup.
New to VOD later this week, The Trip to Spain. It's the third in the trilogy of Trip movies starring Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon. Have you seen any of these Trip movies? Or
no, but I know you say that they're a good old time, so I'll watch them eventually.
All you need to do is search for the clips of them doing impressions on YouTube. I'm not going to make you watch hours of them on the countryside.
I tried. There's a Steve Coogan movie that was out on Netflix called The Dinner, and that was horrendously.
I heard that was bad. Not recommending that one either. But we will give you some recommendations. Art, what's your pick for the week?
My pick for the week is a very, very good question. I'm gonna give you the free one. All right, YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube. If you're not, you're watching this online anyway. The Room is on there. Watch it. Watch it with your parents. Watch it with your grandma. Watch it with your doggy. Whoever you want to watch with, watch that. And then if you got a little extra money to spare, go and watch The Disaster Artist in theaters because it is a very, 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 very dope movie. Zach.
You can't go wrong with those picks. I'm also going to give you a free one. If you go onto True TV, you can watch the new documentary. It's only 50 minutes long. It's called The Problem with Apu. This is a really interesting film.
I heard about this.
That was directed by Michael Malamadov and stars Harry Konobalu as he's a stand-up comedian of Indian descent who has long had an issue with Apu on The Simpsons for the caricature that he is. And he talks about how it's a conflict for him because as a big fan of comedy, The Simpsons is this comedic institution. It's got some of the greatest joke writers ever. And meanwhile, there's this harmful stereotype at the center of it. I think it's a really thoughtful and funny, well-done look at what people talk about when they talk about representation and problems with representation. He also recruits a lot of South Asian voices. Kal Penn and Hassan Minhaj both make appearances in this film.
Oh, that's my boy.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie with some really insightful stuff in it. I would definitely recommend checking it out on True TV's website for free. Or if you see The Shape of Water in theaters near you, make sure you check that out because it is one of my favorites of the year so far. But that's all for this week's show. You can catch more from me, Zach Shevich, by following me on Twitter or on Instagram at ZShevich, or check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/multiplexshow. Art, where can people find more from you?
You can find me at the A to Z Show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube where I got videos coming up. As well as if you have any requests, you can follow me on Let Me Explain. It's a little project that I got going on where I explain any videos that you guys have. You know, movies, TV shows, albums that you want me to explain. Working on that bad boy there. But of course, you can also find me here on the Intercut, where we will be taking your questions on future episodes as we keep coming them out. But Where else can they find us on the Intercut?
You can listen to every episode of the Intercut podcast by checking us out on Apple Podcasts or on SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe to us on either of those platforms or right here on YouTube. If you're listening to us, make sure you're watching us too by going to YouTube. You can find new episodes every Tuesday around noon Eastern. And also, please like our Facebook, follow our Twitter, follow us on Instagram. It's all at Intercut Pod. Easy to catch up with any of those for updates throughout the week from all of us, from both of us, I shouldn't say all of us.
And all
The
our
whole
future
crew.
coworkers, the whole crew.
Yeah.
All our kid.
But yeah, I'm retweeting and reblogging stuff throughout the week, not just from me, but from Art and from the show.
the hub.
So make sure
it.
you check that all out. But thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, remember, all edits and no podcasts makes Zach a dull boy.
That's true. That's true.